Hi friends, this is Hannah from Handmade by Design, and today I'm going to be making a woodland gingerbread house. I really love this woodland house because it's one of those decorations that you leave up after Christmas and it's warm and cheery all winter long. For this project, I use Epsom salts. I use a dollhouse from the Dollar Tree, a plaque that I bought at the Dollar General, and it was on clearance because it was a Thanksgiving plaque. So I bought it. I think I paid $2 for it. Beacon Value brand glue from the Dollar Tree. This glue's magical. It works perfect for this project. A little bit of greenery, paintbrushes, a mirror from the Dollar Tree, glue gun and glue sticks. I really prefer Gorilla brand glue sticks because they really hold your project together well. I use white acrylic paint, I think from Michael's, and from the Dollar Tree, I just use their generic brown, yellow, and orange acrylic paints. I removed the raffia bow from the top of the plaque. There was a lot of glue on the plaque. Next, I removed the hanger. There were tacks holding the jute in place, so I removed those as well and set them aside to use on a later project. There was a lot of glue holding the raffia onto the plaque, so I put my hairdryer on the hottest setting and I used an old emery board that no longer is useful, scraping the glue off, going over it with a paper towel, and repeating the process until there was no longer any glue left on the wood. I wanted the wood to be a darker color, but I still wanted the grain of the wood to show through. So I mixed brown paint, 50% brown paint and 50% water, and using a chip brush, I liberally painted the inside of the wood, the outside of the wood, and the top of the wood on the plaque. After I finished painting, I used a paper towel and just went around all of the wood and removed some of the paint until I was happy with the way that it looked. I really love the color that the wood turned out. I want everything to look realistic, but understated and serene in a natural woodsy feel where everything is covered in a blanket of snow. I added a single coat of white acrylic paint to the bottom of the plaque just to cover up all of the dark color because that's going to be a bed of snow. Once I finished painting the interior of the plaque, I set it aside and allowed it to dry while I worked on the rest of my project. I removed the dollhouse from the blister pack and I saved all of the miniature furniture inside to use on a later project. The house is only half of a house, but that works very well for us because we're going to be lighting it up from the inside. The windows on this house are all removable, so I snapped them all out and then I worked on the door. I think the door was removable too, but I felt like if I put too much pressure on it, I might break it. So I left the door on and just removed all of the windows. I used white acrylic paint and painted all of the windows white. It took 2 coats of paint to get complete coverage, and I did let the windows dry in between each coat. Using the same white paint, I painted the entire house on the outside and on the inside. I also gave the house 2 coats of white paint for complete coverage and let it dry in between coats. I'm sorry to say that I lost the footage of me mixing the paint, but I used the brown, the yellow, and the orange from the Dollar Tree and a little bit of white paint, combining a little of each color with the brown until I was satisfied with the outcome. I used 2 coats of the brown paint on the inside and the outside of the house to get complete coverage. Once the house is completely dry, I snap the windows back into place, and using a small paintbrush, I use the white acrylic paint and go over each window a final time, making sure that no color shows through except for the white, and touching up the outlines. I also paint the outside trim all around the front door and the steps leading up to the door. There's a circular window on the front door, and I paint that white as well. It never ceases to amaze me how much paint can transform things. This house with purple and green windows is beginning to look like a beautiful gingerbread woodland house. I'm loving the outcome. Next, I use white paint and add snow to the roof, trying to add more paint where I think more snow would fall naturally, and along the eaves, along the top. And I add a little bit of white paint to the house as well. Once the paint is completely dry, I use my hot glue gun with Gorilla Glue, adding quite a bit of glue to the bottom of the house, and I adhere the house to a corner of the tray. I then go back in with brown and white paint and just touch up any areas that I feel don't look quite right. Like I thought there was too much snow on the front of the house, and some of the trim needed a little bit of white paint. There are pads on the back of the mirror that need to be removed because when I glue the mirror to the tray, it needs to sit flat, and the pads would definitely interfere with that. Using my glue gun with Gorilla Glue, I put plenty of glue onto the back of the mirror and adhere it to another corner on the tray. I hold it down for a few minutes for it to stick well. The mirror is going to serve as a pond, but it's too large. So I decide what size I want it, and just using a lid, I cut out a circular form, and using masking tape, I fold it over, place it into the center of the pond, and press it down. Next, I use the spray adhesive and spray it liberally onto the roof and onto the house. I don't apply any Epsom salts to the sides of the house because we're going to be gluing greenery to the side of the house, and it will adhere better without any Epsom salts attached to it. I alternately spray the glue and add more Epsom salts in several layers, 2 or 3 layers, until the Epsom salts look just like I want it to, with a berm around the pond and snow drifts in the front yard. I remove any snow from the cardboard and check and make sure that the snow is exactly how I want it to be. I add another layer of the spray adhesive to set all of the snow. And this snow dries rock hard. I use a paper towel to remove any snow that has adhered to the edges of the wood. Next, I add the greenery, and I want this greenery to really look like a forest. So I tried to select 3 or 4 different kinds of trees that grow in the forest that look really natural, with a combination of different kinds of trees to make it look more realistic. These are the picks that I selected, but just use the picks that you have on hand. As long as it's a combination it's going to turn out beautifully. I painted the trees white, adding the snow here and there where I thought it would look natural. I actually added quite a bit of paint because I wanted the trees to look very, very snowy. I love the way this project is turning out. I think the forest looks so pretty and realistic, I couldn't be happier. The white paint makes all the different types of greenery really stand out. Before the paint dries on this project, I use a paper plate, place it behind the greenery, and I spray it with more glue. I spray everything down with more glue. Next, I add Epsom salts to the trees and anywhere else I feel like it might need some. When I'm happy with the way that everything looks, I go over everything with another light layer of glue. Every time I add Epsom salts, I add the glue because this ensures that all of the snow stays on the project and it will last you for years to come. Using a paper towel, I wipe down all of the wood, removing any glue that has adhered to it. I bought 3 of these plaques because I love that they have 6 sides and I thought the shape was so interesting. I couldn't wait to use it on my projects. Next, I remove the cardboard to reveal the snow. I used the tip of a paintbrush and slowly went around all of the edges so that I didn't disturb the snow. And I brushed everything off of the top of the cardboard to try to keep it off of the mirror. For any Epsom salts remaining on the mirror, I used a dry paintbrush and brushed all of the granules back to the sides of the pond, and then I carefully went around all of the sides of the inside of the pond with my paintbrush until I was really happy with the way that it looked. Finally, using a damp paper towel, I cleaned off the mirror and allowed everything to dry. This project is complete, and as you can see, I'm tilting the tray from side to side, and none of the snow comes off any of the project, the trees, the base, or the house. The pond looks beautiful, and the snow is rock hard. I loved it so much, I made 2 and gave my neighbor one as a gift. I put Dollar Tree tea lights inside to light it up in the evening, and it couldn't be more beautiful. I really enjoyed making this holiday woodland house, and if you enjoyed it as well, please subscribe and hit the notification button if you would like to be notified the next time that I post a project. I hope this inspires you to make something beautiful. Again, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.